What kind of monster locks a deaf 5-year-old in a metal cage under the scorching sun just for singing? That's the question I've been wrestling with since the day I found my daughter, Lily, trapped like an animal in our own backyard. Her tiny hands clawed at the bars, her face flushed red from crying in the heat, her cochlear implants her lifeline to sound tossed carelessly in the dirt. I'm Sarah, and this is the story of how our neighborhood's tyrant, Helen Whitaker, tried to silence my little girl's joy and ended up sparking a revolution. We'd only been in Meadow Vyew Estates for 2 months, hoping for a fresh start after Lily's dad passed away. The nearby school had a top-notch program for deaf kids, and I thought this quiet suburb would be perfect for raising my daughter. Lily, born deaf, got her cochlear implants at 3, letting her hear the world in her own way. But when she gets excited, her voice can get loud. She can't always tell. That's never been a problem until we met Helen, the HOA president with a smile as fake as her manicured lawn. It was a sunny Saturday when it all went down. Lily was in our fenced backyard, tinkering with her new toy piano, giggling and making up songs like kids do. I was in the kitchen, slapping together sandwiches, when a sharp knock rattled the front door. There stood Helen, her lips pursed tighter than a lemon. "Your daughter's making that racket again," she snapped, skipping any pleasantries. "This is the 4th time this week. We have noise rules here." I clenched my jaw. "She's just playing, Helen. Kids make noise. She can't always control how loud she is because of her condition." Helen's eyes narrowed to slits. "Disability's no excuse for disturbing the peace. My husband's on important calls all day. That screeching is driving him up the wall." My cheeks burned. "She's not screeching. She's singing," Helen scoffed. "Sounds like a wounded animal. Keep her quiet, or you're getting fined." She shoved a warning notice into my hand and stormed off. I shut the door, fighting tears. Lily's piano was one of her few joys. Her therapist said music helped her feel the vibrations she couldn't fully hear. But Helen had been on our case since we moved in, nitpicking everything: our mailbox color, the height of our grass. I tried to shake it off when my phone rang. It was my boss. A major client crisis needed me ASAP. I work from home as a customer service manager, and this account was make or break. "I'll hop on the call," I said, glancing out the window. Lily was still at her piano, safe in our locked yard. I'd be done in an hour tops. 20 minutes into the call, I noticed Lily wasn't at her piano anymore. My stomach twisted, but I figured she was behind the big maple tree, hunting for pine cones like she loved to do. The call dragged on for nearly an hour. When it finally ended, I bolted outside. The backyard was eerily quiet. Lily's piano sat untouched, her stuffed elephant abandoned on the grass. "Lily!" I called, my voice cracking. "Lily, where are you?" A faint whimper came from behind the garden shed, and what I saw there will haunt me forever. My little girl was locked in a metal dog crate, the kind you'd use for a Great Dane. The sun blazed down, no shade anywhere. Her face was beet red, her curls plastered with sweat. Her cochlear implants lay in the dirt, leaving her in a silent nightmare. A padlock secured the cage door. "Oh my God, Lily!" I gasped, dropping to my knees. I yanked at the lock, but it wouldn't budge. My hands shook as I sprinted to the garage for bolt cutters, nearly dropping them in my panic. When I finally snapped the lock and pulled her out, Lily clung to me, trembling. "Mommy, the mean lady said my songs were bad," she sobbed. "She took my ears and put me in the cage." Rage boiled inside me, but I focused on Lily first. I carried her inside, gave her water, and checked her skin too hot. She was dehydrated, terrified. Once she was settled, I marched to Helen's house and pounded on the door. Her husband, Mark, answered, looking puzzled. "Where's Helen?" I demanded. "What's going on?" he asked. "Your wife locked my disabled daughter in a dog cage and left her to bake in the sun." His jaw dropped. Before he could respond, Helen appeared, her expression cold as ice. "Your kid was disturbing everyone," she said, not a hint of remorse. I gave her a timeout since you can't control her. Mark spun on her. Helen, what the hell did you do? She rolled her eyes. Don't start, Mark. That girl's been a nuisance since they moved here with that awful noise she calls singing. Someone had to do something. I pulled out my phone. The police are coming, and our security camera caught it all. Helen's smugness faltered. You're bluffing. There's no camera. I showed her the footage clear as day, her entering our yard, ripping Lily's implants off despite her cries, VYing her into the cage, locking it, and walking away with a smirk. The police arrived minutes later. They took one look at Lily's condition and the VY Dale and cuffed Helen on the spot. She screamed about noise violations as they dragged her to the squad car. At the hospital, the doctor's words hit like a punch. She has heat exhaustion and dehydration. If she'd been in that cage much longer, she could have died. I held Lily's hand as she slept, for fluids dripping into her tiny arm, and I broke. I tried to be a good neighbor, to respect the rules, and my daughter nearly paid with her life. Word spread fast. By nightfall, neighbors I barely knew showed up at the hospital with toys for Lily, meals for me, and stories of Helen's reign of terror. She threatened to fine me for my son's therapy swings autistic, one mom said. She tried to ban my grandma's butterfly garden because it wasn't approved, another added. Helen had bullied everyone veterans, the elderly, even a dying man whose oxygen machine was too loud. No one had fought back. Until now. Mark came the next day, looking like a ghost. I didn't know she could do something like this, he said. I'm divorcing her, selling the house. Here's something for Lily's bills and therapy. He handed me an envelope, his eyes full of shame. When Lily came home, our neighbors had turned the backyard into a music haven, wind chimes, a waterproof keyboard, VY bratting pads for Lily to feel the sound. A new fence and security system went up, and the HOA ousted Helen, electing a kind woman named Carla who vowed to make Meadow VYEW inclusive. But Lily wasn't the same. She wouldn't go outside alone, had nightmares of being trapped, and flinched at her implants, tying them to Helen's cruelty. We started therapy with a specialist in trauma for deaf kids. Slowly, Lily began to heal, her music becoming her refuge again. 3 months later, Helen's lawyer offered a plea deal, lighter charges for a guilty plea. No way, I said. The DA agreed, calling it a hate crime against a disabled child. They pushed for the max. The trial was brutal, Relly VYing every second of that day. The security footage left the courtroom stunned. One juror, a mom, sobbed openly. Helen's defense was laughable, claiming she secured Lily for her safety. The VY Deo shredded that lie. The jury took 90 minutes to convict her, false imprisonment, child endangerment, hate crime. The judge didn't hold back. You locked a deaf child in a cage, stole her hearing, and left her to suffer because you couldn't stand her joy, he said. You're a danger to society. 7 years in prison, mandatory counseling, a permanent restraining order, and a ban from community leadership. A year later, Lily's 6 and singing again, though some fears linger. Meadow VYU's transformed ramps, gardens, toys, and ASL, welcome, signs in every window. We held the first Meadow VYU Inclusion Festival, with accessible games and a silent disco. Lily stole the show, playing a song she wrote on her new keyboard. Carla gave me a plaque. For teaching us community means everyone belongs. As I tucked Lily in one night, she signed, Mommy, can the mean lady hear music in jail? I kissed her forehead. I don't know, sweetheart, but I hope she learns to listen. Lily nodded. Everyone should hear music. That moment showed me we'd be okay. Helen tried to cage Lily's spirit, but my girl's voice soared louder than ever, uniting a community. I started a nonprofit for kids with disabilities, with Lily as our ambassador. Pro-VYing different doesn't mean less. The worst day of our lives revealed our purpose. Helen's cruelty taught us kindness. And when someone tries to silence your child, the best revenge is helping their spirit fly. That's what Lily did. That's what we'll keep doing.